It is time to wake up. Everything is not as it seems.
Every U.S. president such as Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden can trace their lineage back to King John of England, with the only exception of Martin van Buren, who is of Dutch descent, being a widely cited exception. Yes, that's right, the last 5 presidents, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden are all related through their shared descent from King John of England, making them distant cousins. This connection exists because each of them has at least one family branch that traces back to the Plantagenet royal line. Who are the Plantagenet royal line? The House of Plantagenet was a powerful royal dynasty of French origin that ruled England for 331 years, from 1154 to 1485. They were the longest reigning dynasty in English history and were responsible for transforming England from a post-conquest territory into a sophisticated sovereign state. The Plantagenets built modern England by establishing Parliament, the common law, and a distinct national identity. However, they were notoriously vile, nicknamed the Devil's Brood, for their habit of waging war against their own parents and siblings. Their rule was defined by brutal power grabs, including King John's suspected murder of his nephew and Edward's first violent purges, eventually ending in the blood-soaked civil wars of the Wars of the Roses. War of the Roses was a bloody, decades-long civil war where relatives slaughtered one another until the line was extinguished. Now, back to United States of America presidents and their blood relation via the House of Plantagenet. Both Obama and Biden connect to the Plantagenet line through their mothers, Stanley Ann Dunham and John Finnegan. Their maternal ancestors, specifically the Dunham and Robinette families, were early American settlers who descended from the English aristocracy. These colonial roots link both men directly to King John, making them distant cousins. George W. Bush. George W. Bush is a direct descendant of King John through both parents, linking him to the Plantagenets via the Pierce and Walker families. This massive royal pedigree makes him a 10th cousin to Princess Diana and a 13th cousin to Queen Elizabeth II, as they all share common ancestors like King Henry III and Edward I. These deep ties mean Bush is more closely related to the British royal family than almost any other U.S. president in history. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton links to the Plantagenet dynasty through his father, William Jefferson Blythe Jr., specifically via his ancestor Lord John de la Pole. This lineage makes him a direct descendant of the vile King John and King Henry III, while his separate descent from King of Scots Robert the Bruce I connects him to every single Scottish monarch. These elite bloodlines also makes Clinton a distant cousin to Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, proving his ancestry is just as royal as the Bush families. And finally, the president responsible for World War III, Donald John Trump. Donald Trump connects to the Plantagenet dynasty through his mother, Mary Ann MacLeod, whose Scottish lineage traces back to Robert II and the vile King John. Because nearly all U.S. presidents, including Barack Obama and George W. Bush, descend from this same medieval English line, Trump is a distant cousin to almost every predecessor, as well as Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana. Specifically, Trump and Hillary Clinton have been identified as 19th cousins through their shared 14th-century ancestors, John of Gaunt and Catherine Swynford. Trump and Obama are also roughly 20th cousins through this same royal web, specifically sharing descent from King Edward III. This connection confirms that Trump is part of the same interconnected Plantagenet bloodline that has produced 45 out of 46 U.S. presidents. I'll repeat myself, an elite bloodline that has produced 45 out of 46 American presidents. I understand this is quite an ample amount of information to digest, so to better help you understand, I've created a simple table highlighting each former USA president's link to the House of Plantagenet and their blood relation to each other. Please take the time to read. Please screenshot and share. And please, Research it for yourself. To conclude, what we are looking at isn't just a series of coincidences, but a genetic monopoly on the American presidency. Since the founding of this nation, 45 out of 46 commanders-in-chief have shared one common biological denominator: the blood of the Plantagenet kings. From the vile King John to the warrior Edward III, this medieval lineage has survived centuries of migration and revolution to seat itself in the Oval Office. Whether it is the Bush family's dual royal lines, Bill Clinton's descent from every Scottish monarch, or the fact that Trump, Obama, and Hillary Clinton are all literal cousins, the data reveals a startling truth. Behind the veneer of a fair democracy lies a hereditary shadow, an unbroken chain of elite DNA that links the leaders of the free world to the same crown-wearing ancestors as Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana. Americans are not just electing leaders. They are, unknowingly, continuing a 1,000-year-old royal dynasty on American soil.
It is time to wake up. Everything is not as it seems.